Hi, this is Sherry Veronica, and with me in studio today is Tiffany. And Tiffany wants to tell her story of what happened at the inception of when she got a job, and then what happened throughout her that particular job experience. It could be of interest to you Barbadians. I want to introduce Tiffany into my studio. Tiffany, welcome into the studio.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Speak up, Tiffany, okay? Please.
Hi, you can hear me, correct?
Yes, I can hear you. Welcome into
Okay.
the studio. I want you to tell Barbadians when how happy you were to get that first that no, it was a first job, but the job, and then what happened subsequently.
Okay, so 2 years ago, I basically spent most of my time, I was an entrepreneur, and I had a baby, and I wanted to improve our life, so I was trying to secure a job. And I was fortunate to secure one, and it was great. It was a great location. Everything worked out fine for me. So I started this job, and probably like within 3 days, I started to get a rash at the back of my neck, and it became very irritated basically, and I just decided to go to the pharmacist now, and I got some creams, some steroid creams. They cooled it down. I was a little bit back to normal. I was moved from a different section, and I started this section, and I started to get the same rash again, but this time it was on my legs at the back. However, I just left it, and then I started to get some lumps along with it, and the rash became painful. So I decided that I'm actually going to go back to the pharmacist again and see what's up. So he gave me a cream, the same cream, but however, it didn't work. So I decided to go to the medical center. I decided to go to a 24-hour clinic. They saw me. They told me the lumps were abscesses and stuff. And if they don't shrink by the medication that's administered to me, they're going to have to cut them out if they're painful. The rash they couldn't speak to, so they just gave me a cream too. They said maybe it just might be a one-time thing because I never had anything like that. And in 2 days, I had no progress, no better feeling. There was no relief at all. I decided to go to the general hospital. So I went to the hospital. They told me that it's basically, they think it's a hair follicle infection. They called a colleague to come and advise on it. They said it was a hair follicle infection. They gave me a cream, and they said they're going to place me on an antibiotic, which was the second antibiotic I was on, but this was a stronger one. There was no relief still. I was going to work. Obviously, I want to secure the probation at work. This is my first time actually into a job in this sales area specifically.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to secure the spot. So I was seeking all of my medical care after work, whenever I was off or after work. So I kept going back to the hospital. They told me maybe MRSA. They're not sure, but this time it was progressing. It was getting worse. I was actually not sitting at work, nothing like that I was doing because it was very painful to sit, but I did start to tell my employees and not the employees, the coworkers and stuff, I would say. I started to tell them how I was feeling because I didn't want to slow down anyone.
Right.
Obviously, I don't want any bad remarks. I want to get this job.
Right.
So I told them what I was going through and stuff. So the hospital then, they told me that they're going to refer me to a dermatologist because they cannot tell me what's going on, basically. So I said, okay. They said it's better to do it privately because dermatology is backed up at the hospital. So I decided to go and see a dermatologist. I saw him. This was Skin Deep Clinic. This was Dr. Andrew Ford. I saw him, and he told me it was a severe heat rash. He actually looked at my skin under a magnifying glass. He said it's a severe heat rash. I told him, well, I'm trying to secure the probation at work, and what do I do? And I said, okay, this is the only thing that I changed. Can this be anything affecting my life? He said, no, it's not affecting. It could not be. It's just heat. You need to get some proper ventilation. And he wrote a letter for me stating to let me work in cool conditions. I was moved to a different section. I started there. And within probably let's say 15 days, this rash started to move from the back of my legs to my buttocks area. Mm-hmm. But it was getting crazy now. And I had to keep wetting it with cold water and stuff to cool down. So I decided to go to a different dermatologist to seek another opinion. So I would have seen Dr. Banji. And he told me, well, your case is a case of dermatitis. It's very severe, but we need to find out what the irritant was. I did query my workplace. He said, no, it's not that. That can't be the problem. So we're just going to have to figure it out and go back to the drawing board with it because I have asthma and that kind of stuff, and those things go together. So that may be the cause of it. Asthma, hay fever, and dermatitis, they go together. Okay, so I felt a little release. I calmed down. This was a Saturday that I saw him.
Mm-hmm.
By Sunday, I took a shower. When I looked at the ground in the bathroom, the skin was just coming off and basically and that kind of stuff. So I said, okay, I'm going to go back to the doctor and see what's up. We went back. He informed me that I'm going to have to go through a procedure that's going to be intense, so I can't be able to work. So I'm going to have to take some time home. They gave me a week. After that week was up, I felt still no relief. I was still in a lot of pain, so I decided to go back to the general hospital because by now it's at the back of my leg. It's all across my torso. It's actually in my neck. It's on my elbows and stuff. I decided to go back to the hospital. And I saw this doctor there. It was Dr. Bartlett. And I had explained to the nurse, because you see the nurse before you see the doctor. And she said, well, these things are better to deal with privately. So I explained to her I did it privately, but I'm not sleeping and there's no relief. I saw the doctor. He told me, well, your workplace do carry some stuff that can be a problem. We're not sure if it's that. So the best thing to do, did anybody do any blood work on you? And I said, no. He said, well, I'm going to do some blood work on you. We're going to check all the problems that usually cause, all the areas in the body that usually cause skin problems like this. If they come back okay, we're going to have to dig deeper and stuff for more diseases and stuff that would cause this or could be the cause of this.
Right.
So he said, well, due to your condition, I'm going to have to give you some medication right now because you're going to need it. So he gave me the medication. He said, you don't have to come all the way. You can go to a clinic nearby to have your results and to have your skin reviewed. But I suggest that you just stay home a little bit longer and monitor your skin by environment. His diagnosis also was dermatitis. So I went to get the review. They told me everything was fine. There was one thing that was high. They said it was because usually it's high in asthmatics or when there's an allergy released in the bloodstream. That's basically when it's high. So they said everything seemed to be normal and functioning well. My skin was getting better. She said, just get a moisturizing cream to add with it because you're doing fine. But the skin it takes a long time as you get older to heal. So just be mindful of that. Don't have high hopes it's going to heal tomorrow. Within 3 weeks, I was drying up. I was back to normal, feeling all great, back ready to return to work. I did that. I had a little rash. The doctor said, well, I had called on my first day back to work, which was Monday. I called and he said, well, drink some more water. You need to increase the water intake right now because your body's going through something. So I drank a little bit water. And then the Tuesday, I had a little rash coming up on my finger and it was hot the same way.
But so were you back to work by then? Were you back to work when?
Yes, I was.
Oh, so you were back to work when it started gradually coming back?
So it started, so when I was back to work. So we had the review on the Friday before, and then I returned because the doctor he insisted that I do have a review before I return to work.
Okay.
Because we're trying to find out where the problem is coming. So he said, so we're going to do it. That's the way, it's monitored by environment. So you stay home, and that's what we did.
Okay.
So when I went to her, everything was okay. We added the cream or whatever, and I went back to work. Monday, my lips were stinging. That's when he told me to drink a little bit more water. Tuesday, I had a rash coming up on my thumb finger, so I was in the washroom wetting it, and I was telling the girl it was burning me a little bit. However, I went back. Wednesday, I decided to put the fan directly on me because remember there is like one person saying it's heat and the other person saying it's dermatitis. But when the fan is on me, I completely feel numb and freeze off. My fingers are numb, but I feel okay. I'm with relief. That's it. When we closed up and I left work and I stepped out to head to the terminal to get the bus, as I was walking, and I would say it's my first sweat, as soon as I started to sweat, my entire body was burning from head to toe. So I spoke to the conductor. I told him basically, well, I'm very sorry that I'm inappropriately dressed because I had to remove some clothes, some garments, but I need to get home and there's something wrong. I came home. I told my mom something is wrong. I then went to seek another medical attention center. It was FMH, they were full, so I decided to go to a different one. This was Trident Care. And I went there and I told them what I've been going through, and I had the medication too because by this time I was on antibiotics for a good long period. And they were causing issues at that time too, so they just gave me some medication to deal with the issues, but it was coming back repeatedly. And I told him I have all the medication because I wanted him to know where I was at, and he told me this is an allergic reaction. That's what he deemed it as. He said it's an allergic reaction, and he's going to give me some medication to cool it down. So I did get the medication, and he told me I need to wait a little bit so I can monitor it to make sure that it's coming down. And I started to feel a little bit lighter and stuff. I left. I went and got the medication he gave me. I went home, and when my son woke at 2 o'clock in the morning for tea, when he lay on me, he was sweating, and it burned me so bad. So I actually got up and I said, I'm going to seek medical attention, but I was supposed to report for work. So I had called my supervisor probably like 6 a.m. in the morning, and I said, well, I'm not going to be able to report. Something is definitely wrong with me. I'm going to seek more further medical attention, and I'm going to get back to you. And I'm definitely short something there now, so I don't think I'm going to come back. That's what I said, because I was in a lot of pain. So I told her that. I went to the doctor, and they were saying it's allergic reaction, but I decided, I left there, and I said I'm going to go back to the doctor that reviewed me before I went back. I got there. I didn't have an ID card at the clinic, so they told me they wouldn't be able to let me in. I said, I'm not leaving here. I need to seek medical attention. I need to see this particular doctor. They called her. She came. Somebody bought my ID card for me, and she told me, it's so unfortunate, but I'm going to have to advise you. I don't think that you have an occupational hazard. And she just basically told me that she's going to give me some medication, and if it's not coming down here, she's going to have to send me to the general hospital.
Mm-hmm.
The medication worked. There was a little frustration with me and the nurse of case, because I'm accustomed going through this. When I go to the clinic, they always give me the same medication. I started to ask what it was so I know what's going on. And this is how they said, this is how they deal with every allergic reaction. This is recommended for us to do with allergic reactions. So I said, okay, I went ahead. I took the medication, and the needle was bent in my arm, basically. So they had to take it out, so it was painful. But I really couldn't move. I just wanted to get better. After that, I received the NIS paper saying it was an occupational hazard. I then I had advised with a reputable union rep, and he told me, you need to take your paper into the labor office so that it can be investigated, despite you have resigned or whatever you choose to do, because I was adamant I'm not going through this again.
Mm-hmm.
Because this time it was my entire body. It was not just a leg or arm. It was my entire body.
Right.
So I'm like, no, I'm not going to prove it. I already proved it already. I'm not going to go back through that. So I explained that. I went in October to the labor office. This is October 2022. I went. My case was in there over a year and some. I had been there 15 times. I had called. I had emailed. I went because I went to the newspapers and everything. Basically, it was hard for them to take my story, but it was so much pressure for me. So what I did is I waited to when my body was at this most severe point that I could not handle it, and I actually went naked.
Why was it hard for them initially to take your story?
Because I don't honestly know. They were saying basically, I don't know if it's the company. I don't know. I'm actually now kind of myself actually learning the law and learning certain things right now because of what I'm going through and my circumstances. So
okay.
I would think it would be defamation or something like that if they wanted to take the story.
Okay.
But unfortunate for me, when I did that, someone actually commented and got me into the news editor in one of the papers. So one of the papers took my story. There was still no answer from them. Another newspaper article took my story also. There was still no, there was people reaching out to health and stuff. By this time, the pharmacist had known what I was going through. So she was like, I can see that you're having financial challenges. If there's anything you need, let me know. But still, I don't want to give you any medication unless it's administered by a professional person. So you have to do that. Whenever I went back to Dr. Banji, he said, well, we're going to have to, the topical creams and stuff are not working. We're going to have to do something oral. It's going to be intense. It can cause different issues with your body and that kind of stuff. It can be harmful, basically. But we have to undergo and we have to give this a run. So we gave it a run. This medication, it has me on a 24-hour day, I'm reserved to the washroom for 12 hours. I can't leave the washroom. I have to be there to excrete or vomit or whatever the case may be for 12 hours a day. Can't be anything good, so I went back, I queried this or whatever the case may be. Up to now, I have no definite idea what's going on with me. It's like I'm literally here deteriorating, basically, because it's like whatever is happening inside of me, you can see it's serious because of how the outside looks.
Okay, so you have been away from the job environment for how long now?
I've been a year, and this would be 3 months.
So it's still continuing. So that means that when you went back, it probably affected you to the point of no return, you think?
I think that's it, because as Barbadians were asking, like, basically, how could you be out in an environment that's still affecting you?
Yeah, yeah.
What I wanted to remind everyone here, and why I'm talking to you also, is because I'm letting them know that no doctor got it under control.
Right.
It was not a time that I had healed or anything. Actually, they're not even using the words heal anymore. They're saying till they get me to a bearable point.
Right, 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 right. So whatever has happened to you, even though you're not there where you think you first got it, it's with you.
Yes.
It's still with you.
It's there. It's still affecting me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's stripping me basically of my motherhood, because my son emotionally and that kind of stuff, he's away from me because he can't sleep with me, because there's things that irritate him about what I use and what I have to go through.
Right, right.
So that's that.
So there's an emotional, a great emotional impact. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And then there's my reputation, because there's no friend or enemy that can tell you that I'm not a go-getter and I'm not an independent person. There's no teacher, there's no pastor, there's no one that can tell you that I don't go after what I want. I had no intentions of being at my mom's house at 33. I basically asked her to spend a couple months here to deal with the situation that it was progressing. I dissolved my businesses, all revenue, in to find out what's going on with me. You know, I'm not a person to sit down and wait for stuff. I'm actually grateful to welfare, and I want to say thank you. I've been doing the NTI courses. I've been doing them. The tutors are actually great. There was one tutor, this Mr. Rollins, who was actually doing plumbing. He requested the room to be cleaned due to how my skin was reacting. And he didn't get it done, but he bought the class outside just so that I can participate in that class. I actually started to do like QuickBooks and that stuff, because obviously I'm not in a position to go in to a workforce, because I can't wear certain clothing and stuff.
Yes.
So I did that. That tutor was also amazing. When I actually showed her what I was going through, she allowed me to do my exam on my belly laying down. She walked through. She was actually patient with me. So I'm glad for that. So there's also the Ministry of Empowerment. There's Tricia Brown. There's the Minister Kurt Humphrey. I'm actually thankful they have this program that they launched for 1,000 families. I just got into that, and I was aiming for it because I'm healthcare restricted right now.
Right.
Basically, my appointments were moved from 6 months apart to a year apart. I'm actually querying that with QEH, being to the severeness and the delicacy of my situation right now. Right. I'm querying that also. But there's all those community centers, there's the churches. I advise people to, I'm not a Christian. I don't walk a full Christian life, but to be honest with you, most of the people that actually helped me significantly in this time were Christians. Okay. There were managers reached out to me. Every place has reached out to me, but really and truly, like, it's not even about a battle between an employer or a labor office. It's a battle between me and what I was raised. Like, in school, we're taught why the government was created. Right. They were created to make sure that the strong doesn't take advantage of the weak. And there are people that are national heroes that we celebrate. They fought for things too, so that these don't happen. I want to encourage young people to join trade unions, because a question, $25 a month, save you thousands of dollars to have someone answer a question. Right. But this gets my emotional. I actually see a psychiatrist and stuff now like that. So
yeah, I would imagine.
Deal with this. Because I never saw myself going, but I know that I needed it.
Mental health is important. It's important, very important. So you're doing the right thing.
With the doctors and stuff, I know that we've been complaining about the waiting hours and stuff with the QEH, but we need to say thank you to those doctors and those nurses. Yes. Because 12 hours could save your life. Right. Waiting 12 hours could save your life, even the janitors, because I spent Christmas Day in the hospital. I was throwing up and all that. Now my asthma is progressing. There's no reason why. No one can say why, but the steroids and the stuff and medications that I would use for my asthma is also what I would use for my skin to keep it under control. But I'm crazy now. I'm actually scared, because my biggest question is, why does my body need so much medication to operate normally? Right.
So do you take sea baths, or that's a no that will burn? I don't know.
No, actually, I love the sea, but the sea burns me. The sea, I have trauma with the sea right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's so painful. So
So I
I don't
wonder.
go there anymore. I
I know.
go when I
Okay,
can
I'm not
in
over.
better stages.
I'm not over doubting you. I'm not. Well, I'm not doubting you. But I wonder if that initial burn, and then you go back in the evening, and you burn, then the next day, and you. I wonder if you take 2 sea baths a day for like a month, and bear whatever you're feeling, bear it, and then after a month, say, well, no, it's not getting any better, or maybe 2 weeks or 7 days, you could say, nah, it's not getting. But sometimes you know how a diamond forms. It's like it's a lot of weight on it and a lot of pressure. So sometimes you may need to like bear something to see if it sheds the skin, and once new skin is coming out, you may feel the burn, but it's working and it's doing what it's supposed to do. I'm not a doctor, let me put that in there, but I'm just
I
saying.
know.
I'm just saying that sometimes you shouldn't move away from a situation too quickly. It could be that just going into the ocean and dipping, right up to your neck, or right up to wherever, and just seeing, just, and I don't know if you wash your clothing with soap powder and that kind
No,
of.
I
Yeah,
had to
don't
change it
don't
back.
do that. Yeah, don't do that anymore. Don't
I
do
have to
don't wa-
change.
yeah, don't wash with, and don't do fabric softeners, that kind of stuff. Don't do that anymore. But
I
yeah,
had to change everything.
yeah, and maybe you can wash your
Everything.
clothes.
My
Yeah,
sheets, my
yeah,
clothing, the fabrics I wear, the bras I wear,
yeah.
I chose. I had to change everything
Exactly,
to adapt. Even my diet
exactly.
and stuff. There were times that I try not. I actually starved to see if I would get some progress.
Yeah. Do you
If there's
meditate?
nothing going into my
But do
body or
you do
whatever. I
you?
tried the ocean too because they were saying, but after a month, I guess seeing me wrapped up in stuff, my family gave in.
Okay, okay. So you
They
did
didn't want
you
to
did
see that.
try it? You did try it for a month?
Yeah, I
Oh,
did that.
okay, okay,
I tried natural stuff, but my body's also reacting negatively to natural stuff.
okay.
Things that should work is they're not. They're
You mean
actually
so
taking me
so,
right
so
back to the
plain old
hospital.
Vaseline? Vaseline, like just Vaseline. That would
Yes.
that would irritate you too.
Vaseline is part of my medication, my
Okay,
routine right now. It's
okay,
actually in my routine.
okay.
Vaseline is actually
Yeah, just
there. It's one of the things that
plain
I
old
use.
Vaseline. I swear by Vaseline and cocoa butter. Palmer's cocoa butter. Yeah, it's a lot on my lips.
So
When
I
it.
try. That doesn't work out for me. I
Okay.
try that too, so that doesn't work out for me.
Yeah,
So
because
I just basically stick
I'm
to.
usually like.
I just basically use the same routine that I came off of
Right, right,
Dr. Banji with. I never came off it because it's like you irritate the skin, and then it's like
right,
you have to
right,
go through that. Every time you
right,
try something new, you have to actually go. I have to go through that.
right, right,
If it doesn't work, I have to go through that. So it's
right.
like I'm tired experimenting on myself. Like I really want to know what's happening.
Okay. So do you want to land this plane? Is there anything more you want to say, especially to the public at large? Because sometimes people take things because something has not happened to them. They take it for granted. Oh yeah, it could be this, it could be that. It's probably this. It's probably in her mind. What do you want to say to people who don't understand, and they're not sympathetic? What do you want to say to them?
I really I wouldn't even know what to say to them.
Mm-hmm.
To say to people. I just know what I'm going through. I know who I am, and I know it's genuinely from my heart. So there's gonna people are gonna say stuff, people are gonna do stuff, but it's a battle from within.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know this.
Hello?
So I could just
Okay.
all I can say to the public is like when you guys are taking your kids or getting jobs, you're actually applauding them for you need to applauding them for finding employment and stuff. You guys need to go through the contracts with them. You need to have people to talk to them. You need them to be advised, because if you come from areas like where I was raised, what you would say urban, ghetto, whatever you want to term it as.
Right.
We're novices to these kind of things.
Right.
There's no one to tell us to go left or right and that kind of stuff. So like you need to encourage your kids and you need to be behind them, not only applaud them for the employment and what they're doing, check up behind them, make sure that what they're doing is right, because when they find themselves in these situations, no one has no idea what a human being would do.
Exactly. Well, Tiffany, I want to thank you. I just want to thank you for being brave enough to speak, because it seems as though everyone is in a straitjacket there, and it shouldn't be. It should not be. I want to encourage people to call me. I'm very, very open. I'm very willing to hear you, to put your concerns out there on YouTube, all over Facebook, wherever, because the more information that is shared, the more people have to work with. I actually believe that from the bottom of my heart. You need to give people, it cannot be secreted away. You have to give people the information they need. It's a tool. Information is like a tool, and you need to have it so that when you need to make decisions and to gauge what people are saying to you, you have information. You have the information, you have the tools. So I want to thank you, Tiffany. Is there anything else you want to say?
No, I just want to thank you for taking my story and taking time to hear me out.
You're welcome.
And I want to just thank all the Barbadians that helped me and everyone that reached out to me and helped me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. That's it for you. That's it. I almost call you Karen. Tiffany. Yeah. This is Sherry. This is Sherry Veronica, Naked Departure Radio.